Perfect. So good. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this virtual open house for the North Lamar Transit Center Station Area Vision Plan and related neighborhood plan amendments. Si desea escuchar esta reunión en español, por favor haga clic en el botón Interpretación en la parte inferior de la pantalla y selecciona la opción en español. Para participar en la sesión de grupo en español, coloque las letras ESP en la parte delantera de su nombre. I don't see any interpretation services that are needed. So yes, we can all remain in this one room. Okay, so we are gonna get started now, and I will start by reviewing today's agenda. So we will start with introductions of the station area planning team, then provide you with an overview of equitable transit-oriented development, or ETOD for short, and also plans for station area implementation as they relate to the ETOD goals. We will then review the draft North Lamar Transit Center Station Area Vision Plan. And next, we will walk you through the neighborhood plan amendments that are being proposed as part of this planning effort, about which many of you have received different mailings. And lastly, we will have a group discussion where you will have the time to leave comments on the draft plans and also provide us with any questions during the Q&A session with staff. So beginning with introductions, I would let Stevie start and then follow the order as listed on this slide.
Good evening, everybody. I am Stevie Greathouse, and I'm a division manager within the planning department, overseeing this work, and really happy to be here with you all this evening. And thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to participate in government and then kind of coordinating a plan for our future and a plan for the North Lamar Transit Center. It's super important, and we are really glad to have you here. And with that, Anna, who are you?
Hello, everyone. I'm happy to see some familiar faces, but for those that I have not had the opportunity to meet yet, my name is Ana Villarreal, and I'm the principal planner on the ETOD Station Area Planning team. And then on to Tim.
Hello, my name's Tim McCarthy. I am a senior planner on the ETOD Station Area Planning team.
And before we move to the actual content, I would like to acknowledge that we have other staff members with us. We have Lucy Haw, we have Carla Burrell, we have Maureen as well, and Mark Walters, who you probably know because they are your leaders for neighborhood plan amendments. So we will all be participating in different capacities through the meeting, but feel free to let us know if you need any assistance throughout the presentation. Put it in the chat, and any of them can help you out. So with that, we will now begin with what is equitable transit-oriented development, or ETOD for short. ETOD is an approach to planning that puts housing, jobs, services, and retail near public transit stations. This makes it easier for people to get to these places using public transit, and also creates walkable neighborhoods with a range of services so residents don't need to drive across town to meet their daily needs. ETOD is focused on supporting equitable outcomes. ETOD goes beyond just thinking about places. It focuses also on the people in these places, especially those who have been left out of past planning efforts. Making sure ETOD benefits as many people as possible, and that is current and new residents across all income levels, require us to approach transit investments in a very comprehensive way. And that means thinking about systemic racism, housing affordability, small business needs, economic opportunities, education, and health. Project Connect in ETOD, I'm sure you guys have heard a lot about it, and that stems from a lot of different initiatives that have been initiated in the last few years. These ETOD initiatives have been incorporated into future Project Connect transit investments. You may remember that in 2020, voters approved Project Connect, which in addition to transit expansion, also approved $300 million in anti-displacement funding. The Austin Transit Partnership created joint powers agreements between the City of Austin, Cap Metro, and ATP, which is Austin Transit Partnership. Cap Metro's ETOD study was carried out the next year into 2021, and it basically analyzed 98 stations for different things, including population and demographics, displacement risk, jobs and businesses, urban fabric, real estate market, and also mobility. It also collected data through community engagement. The study identified North Lamar and South Congress transit centers as the two station areas that would be prioritized in Cap Metro's Year 1 work plan, thus the reason why we're here today. And then later that year, the City Council passed a resolution on ETOD, which directed that the ETOD policy plan would explore different tools for equitable outcomes. Also, that included anti-displacement strategies, such as preservation and creation of affordable housing and market rate housing, connected and transit supportive mix of land uses, and also codifying different community benefits. The ETOD policy plan is a comprehensive framework to help the Austin community ensure that future development around Project Connect transit system supports residents of all incomes and backgrounds. Again, especially those who have been disproportionately burdened by past transit and land use decisions. The plan is informed by Cap Metro's ETOD study, and it directs planning department staff to initiate station area planning. Also Imagine Austin amendments and land development code amendments. It also directs staff to create an ETOD implementation plan as a short-term work program. The ETOD policy plan includes many different things that we use over and over in the vision plans that we'll be presenting to you next, but we want to highlight some of those main sections, and that includes 6 different goals to assist in guiding the ETOD framework in the City of Austin. These goals were created in tandem with feedback from the community to understand how these goals will directly impact community needs. So the first goal is to enable all residents to benefit from safe, sustainable, and accessible transportation. We have the second goal to help close racial health and wealth gaps. We have the third goal as preserve and increase housing opportunities that are affordable and attainable. The fourth goal is to expand access to high quality jobs and career opportunities. The fifth goal is to support healthy neighborhoods that meet daily needs. And our sixth goal is to expand Austin's diverse cultural heritage and small Black, Indigenous, and people of color owned and legacy businesses. Now, on to the ETOD policy plan and ETOD policy toolkit. There are specific policy tools that are proposed that should be implemented to move ETOD forward and obtain the desired outcomes that identified in the different station area vision plans. The recommended tools for these plans have been identified through planning processes and organized by implementation priority to support equitable outcomes. We have different categories. We have the small business and workforce development that includes 9 different tools, such as business assistance during construction, ongoing small business support, and workforce development programs. There are also 13 different tools to address housing affordability that highlight implementation of financial tools, land use strategies, and homeownership and tenant support. The mobility category has 10 different tools to help mitigate and improve transportation efficiency, like transportation demand management, mobility infrastructure improvement, and parking management. And then we have the land use and urban design category that has 10 different tools to support creating a cohesive community environment, like complete community land use policies, development standards, incentives, or regulations, and also investments in the public realm. The last 4 tools introduce real estate and finance strategies, such as leveraging publicly owned land in the North Lamar Transit Center, acquisition strategies for ETOD, and land value capture and innovative finance. The plan will also provide guidance for future development on CapMetro land. That's what we're doing by proposing this vision plan for the North Lamar Transit Center. And a parallel planning process is taking place for the South Congress Transit Center. Now, let's discuss the North Lamar Transit Center station area next. Station area planning is a community-driven approach to crafting a vision for the area surrounding a transit station. The station area vision plan establishes a framework for the future development of the half-mile radius surrounding the transit stations and the interface of the transit centers themselves. The grayscale map for the North Lamar Transit Center station is shown on the screen, completed with the half-mile boundary outlined by the black dotted line. Again, for clarity, when we reference transit centers, we are referring to the transit stop and the tract of land where the station currently sits. When we mention the station area, we are referring to all that exists within the half-mile boundary from the transit center as the transit center, as the center point for that boundary. So the community engagement process for both station areas, that is the North Lamar Transit Center along with the South Congress Transit Center, began with the first round of engagement in spring of last year. The second round of engagement took place in the fall of 2023, and the third round took place in the fall of 2023. We're currently engaging community members through community meetings such as this one, and then we'll have another community meeting tomorrow for the South Congress Transit Center NPAs, and that will be before the plans move forward to Planning Commission and City Council for adoption and consideration. This slide includes many different numbers. Just know that it's just a summary of all the community engagement that took place during the first 2 rounds of engagement. And it was engagement for both North Lamar and South Congress combined. This includes a little over 7,000 postcards that were mailed in the spring and fall of 2023. There was over 400 flyers distributed. There were 5 languages that were used for engagement outreach, 2 online surveys that were hosted with 314 responses. CapMetro actually visited 187 local businesses throughout this first engagement round. There was also 13 one-hour focus groups held with compensation for participants. There were 10 tabling events, 2 in-person public workshops at nearby public elementary schools, and also 4 virtual public workshops. So very bold engagement that happened in the 3 rounds of engagement for this plan. So the engagement that was received at these 3 earlier rounds of engagement became the building block for creating the draft North Lamar Transit Center Station Area Vision Plan. It's a very long name. The vision plan is available as a public draft for you to learn more about the station area as it exists today. And then you can also read and comment on what we are proposing before it goes through the City Council adoption process. We encourage you to visit our Speak Up page. And let me see. Yeah, this is our Speak Up page. website for both North Lamar and South Congress Transit Centers to follow along for updates on the vision plans, and so that you can also stay notified on scheduling for Planning Commission and City Council public hearings. We'll be posting all information on that website. That website also has the full draft vision plans available for your review, and there is also a survey for you to provide comments or ask questions from staff. If you want a shortcut, you can also scan the QR code at the top right hand of the screen, and it will redirect you to that Speak Up Austin website. And then we can also drop the URL in the chat so you can be redirected now. And Tim should be posting that on the chat. So, okay, I see it now. Thank you, Tim. So let's get started with the North Lamar Transit Center. You can see it on the screen. I'm sure all of you are familiar that it is at this intersection of US 183 and North Lamar Boulevard. What we would like to focus is on the uses of this area. This lot is, as you know, underutilized, with a significant portion of the transit center itself allocated as an underutilized park and ride facility. So it is definitely an ideal location for a major transit hub, considering the nearby amenities that service the community on a regular basis, such as the ACC Highland campus. We have the Crestview Town Center, and it is within reasonable bus and bike distance to other major regional job centers. As we all know, this intersection of North Lamar and US 183 is a very big intersection that lacks comfortable walking and bicycling connectivity for pedestrians. And also we know that this community is very culturally rich and very racially diverse, with nearly 80% of the residents belonging to Black, Indigenous, and people of color populations. Important to note is that the station area has not seen any new development in over 40 years, presenting the area with a supply of very older housing stock and a lack of open space and grocery stores as well. Now, we're going to touch on how city policies can be applied to provide equity in the station area. So according to the ETOD policy plan, the North Lamar Transit Center station area is classified with the typology of enhanced protection for low-income households and communities of color, while ensuring affordability through sensitive development, meaning that it has a relatively high population. It's also vulnerable to or experiencing displacement and has high recent growth. ETOD efforts should protect existing residents at risk of displacement. Also, we should focus on building and preserving affordable housing units and increasing access as needed to services. Now, the plan envisions that the transit center will contain amenities to improve the quality of life for the surrounding community. As you can see in this illustration, it is envisioned that the transit center will be anchored by a mixed income housing development with storefront retail at the street level and a business center with flexible commercial and small local businesses. Also, there's a public park and a shaded transit plaza. The transit center is envisioned to have interactive wayfinding, first last mile micromobility, active storefronts, weather protective transit shelters, a CAP Metro amenity center, mixed income housing, tree-lined streets, a grocery store, neighborhood services, raised crosswalks, and bioswales. And this is a different visualization of the same site. This is still the the transit center, showing this flexible commercial development along US 183. These renderings are meant to be a proposed option for what the transit center can look like, but as a caveat, note that it's not necessarily what the transit center will look like. Cap Metro will conduct its own design process and will engage the community throughout, but this is an incorporation of all the different desires and wishes that the community have expressed they would like to see on the site.